dies. Some passenger comes in and starts flying the plane. He is piloting the plane, so he's the de facto pilot. But he is not hired by the airline, trained by the airline, supported and bonded. He is not the de jour pilot. That de facto pilot will have a certain amount of authority over you. You're not going to be able to tear down the plane while it's in flight. But nor can that de facto pilot claim that you have to stay on the plane if you have a parachute and you want to get off. You have an ability to say no to de facto. Section 15 states that nobody can be put in jail for saying yes or obeying a de facto government or court. Now, look at the way to examine this, and if you want to train your brain on how to look at this stuff so you can see what they're not saying, which is really where your remedy lies, I would suggest you get some law school admission tests, practice up on those. They'll increase your ability to analytical reasoning, logical analysis, and word comprehension. Section 15 says because this is here, you can't be thrown in jail for saying yes to the government. Now, if Section 15 wasn't there, people could be thrown in jail for saying yes to de facto courts and governments. Now, if you can be thrown in jail for saying yes, can you be thrown in jail for saying no? No. Of course not. Where the inclusion of one creates an exclusion of the other. So now they put the section here that says you cannot be thrown in jail for saying yes. But do they affect in any way your right to not be thrown in jail if you say no? No, they don't mention it. We have de facto governments, we have de facto courts, and we have the power to say no to it. And there is nothing in there that says if you say no, you're in trouble. That's Section 15. Section 38 and 39. To understand what a claim of right is and the use you can do with it, compare Section 38 and 39. It will tell you in one that if you don't have a claim of right, you are limited in what you can do to preserve and protect your property. Section 39 says that if you do have a claim of right, there's pretty much no limit to the amount of force that you can bring to protect your property, even against somebody who has a lawful right to it, like a cop enforcing a court order. If you are holding your property under a claim of right, you can stop anyone from taking it, and you can appoint anyone to protect your property with you. So what we've been doing, and this works wonderfully, we appoint the cops as our protectors of our property, so if they ever get an order to come and remove that property, they can say, sorry, I've already got an order contrary to that. Claim of right establishes that, Section 38 and 39 establish that a claim of right creates lawful excuse to engage in actions that otherwise you could not engage in. This gets important because when you go to Section 126 and 127 of the same criminal code, it talks about your liability if you disobey either the courts or the government. And what they do, they're very tricky with their words. It's kind of like if they were, hi, come on in, you didn't miss much. Yeah, I'm not a lawyer, this think free. You're not a person, you have a person, your sin means you're a government agent. You're late, government agents. I'll be picking on your wife later, because I'm pretty sure I can take you. Did I make you feel at home now? Section 126 and 127 tells you that you can go to jail for up to 2 years if you disobey courts or the government. But essentially what they're doing is they're trying to throw it out. If they were speaking, they'd be saying, anyone who, with no lawful excuse, you'll go to jail for 2 years. They tell you that without lawful excuse you're liable, but if you have lawful excuse, you're not. If you have lawful excuse, you can disobey any court, any government official, you can disregard any statute, any bylaw, any order. And because of Section 38 and 39, we know that claim of right is a lawful excuse. Now, we tested this because Canada, New Zealand, and Australia very much the very similar situation. When I checked out the Crimes Act in New Zealand, 1961, and you can check it out there as well, they have almost the exact same section. But instead of saying without lawful excuse, it says without a claim of right. It's right there. We've had some huge wins with this. There was a young guy in New Zealand. What was happening, these corporations were coming in and they were offering a lot of money for a piece of property. People had been on this property, their family had been there for like 1,000 years, so they said, no, we don't want your money. But the municipality would then say, oh, your property is now worth more, you have to pay more in taxes. They couldn't afford the taxes, the municipality would kick them out, the corporation would come in and buy it for the lower price that they wanted to pay in the first place. It was a scam. So this one young guy, he ended up, he said, I'm not going to take this. 22-year-old Maori kid, he's got a wife and 2 kids. He went to what we would call crown land, common land, and he built a house. No permission, no permit, no license, no nothing. Now the municipality did not like this. The property developers did not like this. They took him to court, dragged him into court. The judge ordered that he tear down his home. Within 30 days, he'd be back in court. 30 days. If the home wasn't torn down, he was going to go to jail for up to 9 months. He didn't know what to do. He spoke to a friend. I told him about how to use a claim of right. So he filed a claim of right, did not tear down his house. He went back into court, and the judge was pretty mad at him. He said, I understand that house is still standing. You better have a very good reason for disobeying this court. He said, as a matter of fact, I do. Here you go. Look, here's my claim of right. I'm holding my property under a claim of right as per the Crimes Act 1961. And the judge looks back a bit. He goes, here's a definition of theft according to the Crimes Act, and it's the removal of property without a claim of right. Show me your claim of right, judge. And if you can't do that, let's accept that you're the one committing a theft. The judge immediately overturned his order, said that order is overturned, your property is held under a claim of right, and the guy is still living on that property to this day, and a whole bunch of people in New Zealand, all these Maoris, are holding their property now under a claim of right. They're just people using words. You are people, we're all equal, you can use words too, and you can take away that authority from them. This is what they don't want you to know. You can actually just say no to them. Somewhere along the lines, we lost it. When we were kids, when you were a 5-year-old, a 7-year-old child, you had what it takes to say, no, you are not the boss of me. But somewhere in high school, we've lost it so that now we're just, oh, everyone's the boss of me. The court, the government, every police officer. What happened so that we lost the ability to say, you're not the boss of me? That's what we have to get back. Now, the really exciting part about all this, and this has been working, I've had a number of huge wins. There was a guy by the name of, what was his name? Greg Klatt, I think. He was a hunter on Vancouver Island. And the forestry guy came by, saw him hunting, said, do you have a permit? Do you have a license? He said, no. He goes, well, I'm going to take your gun. He goes, that's okay, I got 12 more. So, well, if I see you again, I'm going to take that gun too, and I'll just keep taking your guns. And the guy said, well, that'll work until you get down to my last one, then you're only taking bullets. They didn't like that too much. Went to the RCMP tactical squad came to his home, they busted him, arrested him, seized all of his guns, they had 12 guns. Arthur Menard, your Woodshed News correspondent. A low-key yet very popular grassroots movement is underway across Canada by people who consider themselves to be freemen. According to sections 126 and 127 of the Criminal Code of Canada, if one has lawful excuse, one may in fact disobey courts and governments. According to sections 38 and 39 of the Criminal Code of Canada, said lawful excuse is generated by way of an undisputed claim of right. Thousands of people across Canada are visiting thinkfree.ca to learn how to craft and serve a notice of understanding and intent and a claim of right, thus freeing them completely from all statutory restrictions, obligations, and